Hello,
I'm
everybody, and welcome back to another episode of United We Stand, Divided We podcast. I am Robert from the US, and we have with us.
Lionel from where am I from? Toronto. Sorry, I'm
Canada.
just enjoying my hot chocolate out of my beautiful uh, United We Stand Divided We podcast mug, which is actually of our original design, and we'll
Very
mention that
stylish.
Robert
Yes, as you
gone
can
through a lot of
see,
work
we
to
are
redesign it.
changing some updates. We realized that some of the wording was kind of hard to read, so I think this is a much better image. So hopefully, y'all think so too. You had any comments? Let me know. And
Is it available for them to purchase?
absolutely, as I was about to
Okay.
say, I'll have links in this. I'll have links in this description
This
if
one
I can
here,
talk. This one here,
that
so
one.
you can go to the store and buy one if you want one. T-shirts.
We'll
I'm,
give that
I'm
a
going to
go.
update too. So
And sweatshirts or hoodies? Which is it? Which is we got going?
there's sweatshirts, hoodies, long sleeve shirts, short sleeve shirts, mugs,
Tees.
plethora. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, excellent. Fantastic.
Plethora of
That, by
stuff.
the way, is whether you're Canadian or American, you can love it. And some future designs that we haven't gone through yet, where we might have some themes specifically relating to Canada or the US, but they're very similar, and it's just a theme. The whole Canada US being friends, not enemies thing. We're going to
Yes.
brainstorm that over the coming weeks, and hopefully later in the summer we have something to unveil for you for
Yeah,
that.
and
You're gonna like it.
everything that you do just helps support the channel, so we greatly appreciate it. So obviously, last week for those who watched, we had our special guest, my son. He loved it. It was a great episode, kind of long, but it's when you have a lot to talk about. It's I'm a
He's very
long-winded guy, anyways, so it's easy to do.
he, he's a very smart man. It was a pleasure
Yeah,
having him on. We used to play on Google Graveyard Stadia. Uh,
great. That's
was
that's
Ghost
that's probably
Recon
more accurate for
Wildlands
sure.
with him as well. So it was the first
Yeah,
time I've ever actually seen him. I can't see him in person because I'm still thousands of miles away here, or hundreds,
right.
whatever.
Yeah,
Um, but it was a pleasure to finally get the chance to meet him. He's very smart and extremely well traveled, and
yeah.
so yeah, when he has something to say, it's nice to listen because he's got a very youthful but serious experience in life already.
Yeah, he has some amazing experiences. He has more experiences like that than I do, and
Yeah,
I'm 50
yeah,
something years
yeah.
old. you know, so
I
super
know.
proud of him. He's done a fantastic job in getting his life together, way better than I did at his age, which is what we want. We want our kids to do better than we did. So super proud of him. It's awesome.
100%. Yeah,
And I can't
absolutely.
wait to get both my boys out in Germany and go on that trip. That's going to be a spectacular trip.
Yeah, I'm
So
not at all jealous of that.
really looking forward to it.
Mm.
But
Okay,
so
anyways.
on, excuse me, on to our first subject. This is a little bit of public service announcement, and this is mainly for our U.S. listeners and watchers. Um, a hacker group called Lockbit has claimed, there's no proof yet. I haven't seen any actual admission by the Federal Reserve, but they have claimed to have breached terabytes of data of US citizen information, addresses, phone numbers, obviously social security numbers. It's the Federal Reserve. So just keep an eye out. And we had an episode a while back that talked about security, and you just can't ignore it. You have to make sure, lock your credit bureaus, put your two-factor authentication on, just protect yourself, because this is just the world we live in now. We just have to kind of keep the doors locked in the keep a vigilant eye. So be on the lookout. Just FYI, not been confirmed, but where there's smoke, there's fire. So be aware. And next on the PSA, just real quick, again, this is a US thing that the United States government has issued a immediate patch requirement for all government employees that use pixels because of a 0-day that is being exploited. So again, hit that update button, even if you have to tap it 14 times sometimes. Make sure you do those updates, because these 0 days, I can tell you that I, from experience, and Lionel can attest to it as well.
Yeah.
Google, Samsung, they're really good about taking care of these 0 days quickly. So
Extremely good. Um, the thing is reality is technically you should be updated already. The only issues in regards to this particular update that needed to be out was T-Mobile, I believe it was and Verizon, if I'm not mistaken, that had the delay. But theirs is already now rolled out. You should have that update. If you don't have it
yeah.
now, like Robert said, mash the button. Well,
So yeah,
probably, right? Or maybe you're doing it
yeah,
like
yeah,
this.
yeah,
I don't. But
yeah,
mash that button, get it done. It's not likely that you haven't got it yet, because I keep up to date on this. I check out a lot of things like Facebook groups for Pixel owners
yeah.
and other Google stuff to do with that. And there's always some people saying, "How come I don't have the update yet? How come I don't have the update yet?" And usually those are people who are complaining on day one, an
Yeah.
hour into it being released.
Hey, right, right, right.
But then, sometimes when you start to see 3 weeks later, somebody doesn't have it, and you're like, "Wait a minute, now something is absolutely off about this." Uh, um, and that's if most people have it and some don't. But it was known that
Yes.
Verizon and T-Mobile users did have the delay on theirs, and they never told us what it was.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm not going to get into details about these two issues. Just be alert. But if you want more information, hit us up in the comments section. I'll be happy to get back to you, and I'll give you some links and all that you can go read it for yourself, and just make sure that you are covered. Hit that update button. So those are my two public service announcements of today.
okay, so forget now that we've gone past the public service announcements.
Those are important things.
We have something absolutely really fascinating. Speaking of Pixel owners, and those who haven't but have considered it, or those who haven't and haven't yet considered it, Google, much like Apple, and Samsung, have used a almost dead on date every year since the first Pixel. Save for 1 year where it was about 2.5, almost 3 weeks later than usual, and you still ended up having to wait 3 more weeks to actually get the device, when they launched their new series. I think that was the Pixel 4 that happened with, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
recall.
but every other one has been somewhere between October 4th and October 11th or something, usually 4th, 5th, or 6th. This year, we were just told just yesterday that it is August 13th is the Pixel reveal. Now we're not guaranteed 100%, but it's pretty obvious, because they actually also shared on. Forgive me, I shouldn't have to say it like this. They put on X, um, formerly Twitter,
So
and if you
ridiculous.
don't know that yet, you're still living in Twitter. Good for
Yeah.
you.
Wake up.
Anyway, yes. They put on there a very short teaser video, which is, in my opinion, the best teaser that they did since the very first Pixel. The very first Pixel one is the best phone teaser I have ever seen from any brand ever. Um, so it didn't
So
really show much. It was very, very dark, and they just kind of showed the outline as the light went around the outline. It's slightly across the camera bar,
yeah.
and then it just put the date entirely in Roman numerals. So
So
turns out
question, because I
October.
don't remember.
Yeah.
Isn't the last beta typically published in August, or is it
The
coming out
last beta
in
is
July?
typically published somewhere between the middle of July, and the very beginning of August. There has been a couple of years where the last beta didn't even happen until the end of the first week of August one
Yeah,
year,
I remember
in the
that. So
middle of
they
August
better
another
get that
year.
last update out then,
But keep
because
in
that's
mind, they also, until 2 years ago, they were putting out the newer version of Android in at the end of August or the beginning of September, a full month ahead or more of the release of the next Pixel phone. Now,
right.
the following Pixel phone would then have a point 0.1 or point 0.2 difference for new things that were put in specifically for that Pixel or any extra bug fixes. But
Right.
your this year's and last year's Pixels would all be able to be updated to the final version of the new OS ahead of time. The last 2 years is the first time that they discontinued that entirely, and you couldn't get it until after the announcement. As a matter of fact, if well, you remember, because this would be, or wait a minute, maybe you don't remember because you had already switched to Samsung by then, or did you try the
Yeah,
Pixel
I've been
first?
2 years now, almost
Okay,
almost 2 years with
so
Samsung, so
you didn't try the 8 then.
no.
Okay, so that's the one you skipped. All right, so then you wouldn't. But you might remember from the year before though, there was no update. This year they went even further. That last year you were allowed to update on the day that you could, because I was updating my phone at work while I was waiting for the live stream to happen that I was going to watch while I was working.
Yeah.
This year, well, the past year, it's last year now. They didn't do it that way. You couldn't get it right away. You didn't. I wasn't able to update my phone to the new OS until pretty much after I'd already placed my order for the new phone during the live stream. Or actually at the end of the live stream when it finally became available to order. Uh, so that's different. So this year it's different, of course. I do have the beta 3 on both of my Pixel 7 Pro and Pixel 8 Pro. Um, the beta 4 will almost assuredly be by the middle of July at the latest, because they need a minimum of 2 weeks to squash whatever remaining bugs are and
Yeah.
to make sure it. And now at Pixel, here's the thing: the beta 4 is super super important, because while beta 3 is the first. Good Lord, I'm forgetting how do you what it's called. Uh,
It's
the
the
first,
more stable release.
yeah, it's a stable release that is platform stable. Thank you. It's the first one to reach platform stability, meaning it's technically safe. You're going to run into some bugs. There may be a
Yeah.
few things that don't work, so on and so on. But here's the thing: you can't expect an app to fix it for the beta. If it doesn't work, there's a good chance it won't until the final. However, the beta 4 is usually so close to the final that they actually will go and make, like major companies anyways, will go and make whatever revision they need to do to make it work. Now, in this particular case, my credit card company just does not authorize, well, one of them doesn't authorize any sign in, biometric, nothing. Won't authorize it. It just doesn't see it as working, and there's nothing I can do about it. So I have to go on their website to make payments to my card and so on and so on. But what I suspect is just because of the high level of security, it has to be pointed to the new operating system. It can't point
Oh,
to the
not in a
previous.
beta. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Um, and because not all of them do it. Like the banks are have been very good about that. If it can be authenticated, it's authenticated, and they go with the authentication. In this particular case, it's there's something about it that's just not working with it, and so I think it won't get authenticated because it's too deep within the program itself. It's not the operating system. If they point it to Android, which version are we going to do? 15, right?
15. Yeah.
See, we're starting to lose track. iOS is 18, Android is 15. They're
Time
catching up,
flies by.
even despite all those point ones and point twos and point fours they had years ago. They're starting to catch
Yeah.
up. That's what people say. Well, there's so many more. There's been 3 more. No, there hasn't been. Okay, that's another argument for another time. But anyways, yeah. I forgot what I I was rambling on about that, trying to make the joke about Apple, but you can cut me off anytime when I do that.
Well, I just wasn't sure where you're going, so I was going to let you keep on down that
Yeah,
path.
no, no, no. You dig a hole and force the car to stop if it's got no brakes. What what I basically the bottom line though is it's kind of surprising that it's happening so early. We don't know as much. There may be some surprises. We're not sure what the specs are going to be entirely on this rumored larger version of the
Yeah.
Pixel 9 Pro XL. Just to be clear, a lot of people wondering, is this thing going to be some massive Pixel or sorry, a Nexus 6 sized, thing that you can basically use as a home theater system? Is this so big? No, it's not. It's going to be pretty much close to the same size as a Pixel 8 Pro, or probably more likely very similar to an iPhone 15 Pro Max. And the reason why is I heard them say something about the screen size technically being slightly smaller, but it's not smaller, it's the height. Now remember, they measure like a TV
Right.
diagonally. So if you shorten it but make it slightly wider, so it's perceptible in your hand how you hold it, and it does make it a little bit closer to a 16:9 range, but yet can still perfectly fit a widescreen 2.35 aspect ratio like an iPhone can. Then what you have is something that is actually technically bigger. You actually have more screen real estate, not
Right.
less. And this
Yes.
is why iPhone went that way. So a lot of people have bashed that. Oh, it's smarter, and I prefer the long. You prefer Android. Just say it as it is. The fact of the matter is, I wish that Google would do a lot of things Samsung does, because they do it better and they do more of it. It's a fact. But I hate their phones. Not that their hardware's not good. It is. I just don't. I like the design, the way it looks. I don't like the sharpness of those square edges. And I like the simplicity of a Pixel. If you could compromise, perfect. But I also like iPhone's look. I love the feel of an iPhone in my hand. I hate iOS on a phone. I love it
Yeah.
on a tablet. I do. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I hate it on a phone. So that's basically it.
Wait,
It's going to
we're,
be the
I'm
bigger
missing my
phone.
block button. I think it.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Yeah, I don't blame you there. The Pixel 9 will be like, just like, like the Pixel 8, probably same size, very close anyways. The Pixel 9 Pro will be uh, what was it? It was going to be bigger, but not big, right? The
Right.
Pixel 9 Pro XL will be the biggest one. So what you're going to end up with is a Pixel, or possibly the Pixel 9 might be close to the same size as the Pixel 9. But the difference is it'll have the full Pro features with 3 cameras and all the extra stuff that you get out of the box on the Pro versions. The Pro XL, however, will just be the bigger one. And this has proven to be something that works. It's worked for Samsung for a number of years in that methodology, and
I thought it was
also
going
for
to be an
Apple.
Ultra. I thought it was going to be like Pixel 9 Ultra. Is that
No, because the thing is that would be implying that they're in competition with Samsung, and Google and Samsung both don't want to do that. They don't
yeah?
want to imply that they're in competition with each other at all at this point.
But
The
you think there's got to
competition
be
is with
more
Apple.
spec? There's got to
That's
be
why
more
they look
spec
like
difference.
Apple. Well, you've seen it. You've seen the back of it. If you were to swap the camera bar out on the back of the Pixel 9 with a square thing like what Apple uses, you wouldn't know the difference from one phone to the next. At first glance, because and it's not that they're copying it, because Apple copied that design originally from someone else too, and people don't realize that. I mean, that's a design that was done back in the early days. I don't want to say, no, it wasn't HTC. I can't remember. LG, maybe. No, not LG.
Yeah, I
I don't
don't know.
remember. One of them did it, and they copied that. Um, Everybody copies everybody. Who cares? Really, you either like the phone or you don't. You know,
Right.
either buy it or not. I think the design of the Pixel 9 from the renders so far looks really good. So I'm excited to see it. It's going to be a pretty huge deal. And being in the summer too, I think they might find a lot more people home that day, you know, and beating out Apple if they launch it ahead of Apple. And I think they could get at least a couple million extra sales. And that doesn't sound like a lot compared to Apple or Samsung, but 2 million extra sales for any company is better than 2 million less sales. And when you wait until
Oh,
the,
yeah.
if you're doing it, if you do it early October, then probably 20 to 40% of the sales before Christmas aren't happening until a month or and a half or so before Christmas. And that's not a lot of time. Apple, on the other hand, has between 2 and 3 weeks longer to get their sales in. And not that they need it anyways, but you know what I mean. Just that
Yeah.
extra time means after the initial influx, there's still going to be that many more people trickling in because more people have already said, "Oh, you got to get this phone." They saw their friend with it, they saw their mom with it, they saw their boss with it, whatever, right? And they're like, "Ah, I love that thing. I'm going to get it." I had
Now,
4 people that I worked with in the last few years, but just because they saw my Pixel and saw what it was capable of doing, ended up buying Pixels.
all of our
Just like
loyal
me.
watchers, if you guys want to go and purchase 2 million units of our merch, I'll let you know what it feels like to have 2 million sales. Just saying.
Yeah, that would be nice. But on the other hand, if anybody wanted to donate to my I'm jealous and wish I could go to Germany and race cars on the Nuremberg Ring uh, fund,
Yeah.
donate to good luck with that .com. Anyways, but I
People start
digress.
GoFundMe's for all kinds of stuff now. Maybe you can start a GoFundMe for racing fund.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways, we'll move on.
So,
Um,
what do you think about this? I sent you the article about the Gemini. Has Google done anything unethical? Gemini changes its answer mid sentence. It says Gemini on mobile changes its answer mid sentence when asked whether Google is unethical. So,
oh yeah, yeah. You know what? I'm gonna say they either made a change to that unbelievably fast, so that's not an issue, or they did something because they wanted to tap into something, or maybe somebody complained and they did everything they could to try to replicate it. I have no idea. I kind of perused the article a bit quickly, and I looked at it and I thought, well, let me see if I can duplicate this. And here's the thing about science: you have to be able to duplicate something in order to get it to be reputable, and then you need peer reviews. And so when I see things like that, I try to replicate that kind of stuff. I couldn't get it. What I got was an absolutely brilliant answer from them. I Let me see if I can actually find it. I've used Gemini way too many times to be
well,
able
while
to
he's
find
looking at
anything
that,
quickly.
so if you guys haven't seen it, it's they when asked that Google initially, or excuse me, Gemini initially answered, "Yes, Google has," and then it immediately changed its response to, "I'm not able to help with that as I'm only a large language model." so, so somebody might have been on that undo key, and tapping that escape key or something. But yeah, I
Oh
just I
yeah,
think
I
it's
had a
more
couple of them.
buggy than anything.
Uh, okay, hang on a second. What was the original question that they asked it?
The original question was, has Google done anything unethical, or is Google unethical?
Uh, okay. What I got with the "is Google unethical" question was Google faces criticism for various reasons, including tax avoidance, which honestly I've never heard that one, privacy concerns, search bias, and anti-competitive practices. This is not a lie, and this is not
Mhm.
hiding anything. Um,
They've been to
Now,
court.
I also asked it. No, I said Google's ethic was has Google done anything unethical? And then it gives me a detailed, point-driven answer. I'm looking at the TV instead of the camera here. Google has faced scrutiny for various ethological. What is an ethological?
Apparently,
Right,
neither one of us can talk today.
Google. Now let me put on my news voice. Google has faced scrutiny for various ethical concerns, including privacy issues, collection and use of user data, search bias, prioritizing. Oh man, if this ends up in a short, I'm telling you right now, there's
Oh,
a
I'll make
damn
sure
thing
it
I can
does.
do about it. Price. I said that already. Search bias, prioritizing own products in search results. Antitrust. Not to be confused with the word I almost said. Antitrust concerns, dominance in the digital advertising market. That doesn't even make sense to me. But anyways, environmental impact, high energy consumption in data centers. Additional concerns have been raised about censorship, suppression of certain information, worker exploitation, allegations of poor working conditions for contract workers. It's important to note that the perspectives on these issues vary. It actually says that. And the interesting thing about that is you can take that any way you want, but that makes perfect sense because again, a lot of the stuff that are complaints, some of it is hearsay, some of it is
Yeah.
highly fact driven. Um, but it's also in most cases not much different from every single other company operating big and small, but they're
Right.
noticed more because of how huge they are. Now I'm not talking about really unethical things like if women are complaining that they're being mistreated, they're not being paid equally, these are concerns that need to be addressed 100%. However, when you start talking about stuff like antitrust and so on and so on, this is a business. Google runs their own business. They own their own thing. If you go to a Google search page, it's their search page.
Right.
Why should anyone complain? Oh, well, I'm not allowed to have my advertising. Because you have to pay for your stupid advertising. They own the company. The page belongs to them. That's like walking into a store and saying, you have no right to charge me $2.80 for that milk. Yes, they do. You can go buy the milk for $2.25 at the store across the street and shut your mouth. I'm sorry. I disagree with inflation being as bad as it is. It's being done. People are being taken advantage of. But people have to remember, oh, they're only in it for the money. Of course they are. Nobody starts a business because they give a damn about the guy who lives three towns over. It's they start a business so that their family can be comfortable, so their children can be comfortable, so their grandchildren have something to inherit. They don't start a company for you and me. Sorry, that's my rant.
Well, yes and no. They
You're disagreeing.
Google,
Okay.
well, no, I mean, Google started, Google um, page and brand because they
Yeah.
wanted to bring something of value to the internet. So it
Well,
was for
yes.
you and
Okay.
me. So it truly
Yeah. No,
was
you're
like,
okay. All right.
here's
Fair
what we
enough.
want to give you. But
I
then
was
it turned
speaking in
into this
general.
monster, this gigantic monster of a company. And when it
Yeah,
gets that big, I mean, come on. I mean,
right.
Microsoft's been sued for
Well,
antitrust. There's so many people have been sued for antitrust because they say, "Oh, you're cornering the market." Well, build a better product.
I was again. I was speaking in general. Uh, Basically saying, but Google isn't the same company as it once was, obviously.
No,
I mean, their
not even
search
close.
algorithms have nothing to do with the search algorithms they originally used. I
No.
mean, it's almost entirely AI driven now, for crying out loud. I could search for the word Toyota, the reason I'm going to see anything to do with Toyota is nothing to do with the reasons I would have seen it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's totally different.
Well, as a matter of fact, there's a lot of people that are really like upset with Google right now because
Of
they feel
course.
like the changes they implemented in the search algorithm have hurt websites and search results for websites. More importantly, it's
Yeah.
affecting small websites because obviously they just don't have as much traffic to begin with. They don't have people that already know them that can go straight to the website. They're not necessarily searching for it.
Yeah.
So, I can understand that. But I think they're just trying to maximize the impact. And, you know, I mean, I'm not a programmer. I can only imagine what it takes to crunch these numbers and this
Yeah.
information as fast as accurately as it is. So, it's a tough one. But
Well, yeah. It's I could go. We could go on for that for a long time. There's a lot of different things. So I mean, there, there's a whole bunch of things Apple does that
yes.
are people not necessarily happy with as well. But my argument is always going to be there. It's for the things that they do wrong that are just absolutely dead on wrong. Yeah, that should something should be said. That goes for Microsoft, Apple, Google, Oracle, whoever. Right. But
Yeah.
I don't know why I said Oracle. It's like large company name, right? But at the same time, and the same thing for me is whether a company is a big, massive company or a small mom and pop shop. Regardless of why they started it, people still are trying to make money. And
Yeah.
so the argument that, oh, they're just trying to make money. Yes,
Yeah. Nobody goes
that's
to the business
exactly
or
right.
goes to work. You don't go to work so you can not get a paycheck.
Exactly. And none of these companies owe you anything for free.
Right.
It's just not how it works. The entitlement that people seem to think, and so they get on the internet, oh, I'm gonna be lambasting them, and they get dozens of people to sign, turns into thousands of petitions and Facebook memes and whatever. And to me, it makes absolutely no sense because again,
Yeah.
they're trying to make money. Oh, Google's just trying to make money. That's why they're trying to put out their own phones. Really? I thought they were doing it
Okay.
because they wanted to hand them out to the homeless.
Right.
I,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
what you think they were doing? Like I see, and here's the thing. In all honesty, we make nothing doing this right now. But if you think that if we have a chance to make money, that we don't want to take it, you're incorrect. Of course, we want to make money. So
Yeah.
if this gets to be something we can make money off of, yeah, but we're not going to do it by trying to rip anybody off. We just hope people will enjoy our content. Hit the like and subscribe buttons down there and the bell icon.
Yes.
There you
Because
go.
that tells that algorithm, hey, I like this content, and it'll keep pushing it out. So we appreciate
And
that.
we appreciate Google for letting that algorithm do its job.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So we're moving on. We have to because I think we might go slightly shorter today. And because we got a few things. Canada Day's coming up Monday. Monday. You know what? I'm sorry. I have to move our pictures over here because I have to look too far to see you. At least this way I look like I'm looking at you in the same room, but with bad lighting on this side of the room and great lighting on that side of the room. Robert's done a great job on his studio setup.
Thank you.
If you might have noticed, it's changed over time. Mine is still got a ways to go. I got a bunch of stuff I got to do, and I got to get it set up yet. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen until after our dueling holidays. Well, we should have
Yeah.
thought of that. We should have thought of that. Dueling holidays. Could have the banjo music and everything. Doodly. No, wait a minute.
Right.
That's going in the wrong direction. That's going in the wrong direction. We're talking about having good times. Canada Day Monday, and then Thursday. Can I count
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Thursday
Thursday,
is
Independence
Independence
Day.
Day. So all of those 4 days combined, we've decided to coin Candependence Day.
Yes.
And have a lot of fun with that. Um, so I know I'm gonna be heading out to a couple places on Canada Day myself. I'm gonna take some pictures and some video. I want to try to share some of that when we do a midweek cast, and so you can see what's going on. Well, specifically in Toronto or in the GTA. I might even get slightly outside of Toronto and see what some of the other townships are doing around. Maybe. And then Robert, for Independence Day, you don't know what you're doing? You use family barbecue or something?
Yeah, I'm not really sure yet. I'm sure we'll be doing something with the kids for sure. My wife is actually closing her practice Friday as well. So, but I got to work Friday, so I'm sure she'll just have that as a extra vacation day.
Extra vacation day. Yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
but it's I'm sure we'll be doing something. So we'll just have to see. But the
Yeah. Yeah.
town I live in does the fireworks. Remember, I can literally see them from my driveway, so I'll be out there at least checking those out. Not going into Nashville. That's too insane.
Well, if you could see it well enough to get a couple of pictures,
Oh yeah,
by all means, do it. Do you
yeah.
see the big one from where you are, or is it just a small one? No, you don't see the big one. That's Nashville. It does the
Oh
big
yeah, I can't
big
see
one.
Nashville. I'm 35 miles from Nashville. It would have
And
to be it would have to be really big.
I'm guessing it's just too crowded, and because you're not 20 something years old, you don't want to deal with that kind of traffic to go see one of the best fireworks shows in America.
Yeah,
Yeah.
150,000 people. I've seen it two
Do
or
you
three
know?
times,
Do you
and
know what I'd love to
yeah.
do, but I don't think I have the time to do it this year, unfortunately. So maybe I'll make a plan for it next year. I've wanted to do this for a long time, and I can't believe I didn't do it last year. Still pissed off at myself about that. I want to go to Windsor, Ontario, and watch Canada Day fireworks. Drive back again on the 4th of July and watch fireworks from almost the exact same position from Detroit. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
and traditionally in the past it was either the best or one of the biggest and best in the U.S. I don't know if that's kind of settled down in recent decades because of, well, Detroit being Detroit, but
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's going to be massive this year because of the bridge, the Peace Bridge, which is not in Windsor, by the way, but um, or is it in Windsor? Is it in Windsor or is it in the town north of it? I don't really
Uh,
remember. I looked that up. Or not Peace Bridge. I'm sorry. That's the other way. The Gordy Howe Bridge. Sorry. Um, anyways, it's now connected together and all, so they're in the last stretch of finishing that. And
yeah.
I've seen pictures of it finally up close because it's now that it's connected. There's like massive amount of lanes on either side of this bridge. So the amount of people that are going to be able to go in both directions is absolutely stunning. I can't even it's wild. It's like looking at like the biggest freeway you've ever seen in your life, but it's a bridge.
Yeah. I
It's
obviously I
crazy.
know Detroit, and the Canada is right there. I mean, they're close to each other. I guess I never really realized how close it is until one day I was watching the Detroit Grand Prix, and it was such
Oh
a
yeah.
beautiful day, clear skies, and I'm like, oh my gosh! I was like, that's literally like a stone's throw from Detroit across the river. So because I mean, there's actually people lined up with binoculars and high
Yeah.
power stuff watching the Grand Prix. I was like, that's kind of cool. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
can see
yeah.
how it's very easy to see the fireworks over there. Do they do it over the river?
Yeah, no, the Detroit one, I don't know where Windsor does theirs. I'd have to actually look that up. But Detroit has
Hmm,
traditionally put theirs on barges right in the middle of the river, smack in the middle of the river. Like
nice.
basically on the border, just inside the US Canada border. So the thing about it is that it means it's just as nice to see from Windsor as it is from Detroit. So people who live in Windsor or visit or close enough to visit, they get two massive fireworks shows
Yeah,
within a few days of each other every single year.
yeah,
It's
that's
one of the
great.
best places. Now, another thing too would be it would be a little bit less exciting if you were in what's it called? Fort Erie and Buffalo. Because Fort Erie is
Mm.
just a one horse town. Or maybe 3 horses, I'm not sure. But I don't like that town. I'll get into that some other time or never because I don't like it. Anyways, but Buffalo, on the other hand, of course, is a decent sized city, whatever, 700,000, 800,000 people, whatever it is, a million, I don't know. But they obviously have a decent sized fireworks show because it's Buffalo. So people in Fort Erie would obviously be lining up again along that river, the Niagara River in this case, and watching there. And then, of course, you got
Yeah,
Niagara Falls, New York, and Niagara Falls, Ontario. And I guarantee you, the Niagara Falls, Ontario show is bigger because they always do theirs on a barge in the lake or in the river, pardon me. And they're not going to both do that because it's not like the Detroit River is super wide or anything. So
right.
it's probably the only one you see at that moment. But I wouldn't doubt if there were like a completely separate. Well, I'm not doubted. There obviously would be. I don't know exactly where Niagara Falls, New York, does there. but they might do theirs in water as well. I don't know. It would be cool if they did, or not in the water because it can't. Not in a barge. It's on the edge, but you know what I mean. Like it's like right close to where it borders. It's just
Yeah.
the way Niagara. If you've never been there, the way Niagara moves over the edge of the thing isn't constantly in the middle of the river like it is Detroit River.
I thought New
Niagara.
York did theirs between New York and New Jersey in the water.
Between New York and New Jersey, that's
Yeah.
hundreds of miles away, man. What are you talking about? I'm talking about
Really?
Niagara Falls, New York, and
Oh,
Niagara Falls, and
I thought you were
Niagara
talking about
Falls.
New York City, like where
No,
you
no, no,
thought
not no. I said
oh, okay,
Niagara
yeah,
Falls, New
yeah, yeah.
York, and Niagara Falls, Canada, Ontario.
Oh, I took
Because
that as Niagara
again,
Falls,
if
New
anybody
York.
doesn't know, if anybody doesn't know, and
Sorry.
I'm assuming most people do know, but there is a Niagara Falls, New York, as in New
Yes.
York State, and Niagara Falls, Ontario, in Canada. Niagara Falls, Ontario is a little bit bigger and considered to be the more fun, more things to do place to go. Plus, you can see all of the falls from there from one view. But make no
Right.
mistake about it, there's been a lot of improvements in Niagara Falls, New York, and it looks really nice. It's definitely growing, and you can see it from the Canadian side. So either way, if you can travel back and forth and look at them,
Yeah.
and obviously again, and there's and it's not very far from Buffalo, but it's far enough away they would have their own fireworks show,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah. Well,
So
when you said New York, I heard what you said. My brain just
right,
instantly went New York. So I
yeah,
was like,
New York,
you
New
know,
York,
yeah, it's funny how habitual we get with certain things. We just like
yeah,
steer off in one direction. So yeah,
yeah.
that's kind of
Well,
funny.
you know what? If you mention Albany, there's only one thing that comes to my mind:
And
Damnation Alley.
Damnation Alley.
Yeah, they were headed to Albany. That's where they got the radio signal from. You ever saw that movie? You got to see that movie. Forget it. That's another discussion
Yeah.
for another time. Just think giant cockroaches, but nonetheless.
Nonetheless.
So
Well, I
okay,
think the last thing that I wanted to just quickly mention, because
yeah,
we mentioned the trackers in a previous episode, and Google has
yeah,
started selling the um, Pebblebee in their Google store.
yeah. As opposed to the Chipotle.
It's supposed to Chipotle. You can't get any tacos or rice bowls or anything there.
Yeah,
But yeah, so I thought that was interesting. Yeah, I almost thought I guess, well, because
yeah.
Samsung has their own thing, they're not going to sell Samsung, obviously, and Samsung's not going to be, directly part of that anyways. But I thought that was interesting. They have 3 different products, and I
Well,
might
yeah.
get one and just try it out. Who knows?
And going along the lines of that, Motorola has already announced, and I think already started selling even their new tracker that does work with um, Google's Find My Device network,
Mhm.
but also has ultra wideband, which won't work yet because it has to be enabled by the network.
Right.
So, and it's not enabled by the network because nobody has one that has it. So when Pebblebee and Chipolo, not Chipotle, announced theirs and started to design them. I guess they only had so much time, I suppose, and they just decided let's do it cheaper and not put the UWB in it. So,
Yeah.
excuse me. So they basically went with that, and but here's the thing: is Google is. I think we may be beyond rumor. I think they've already somebody found some FCC stuff or something like that regarding a Google tracker. Uh, so Google seems to be working on that. And who knows? Maybe we'll get that announcement too. Because
That could
if they
be.
didn't, then it would be like, how many months you gonna have to wait? Announce even if you're not gonna, even if it's not available for 6 months, announce it now. Let people know that that option is there, and that because theirs definitely will have the UWB, the ultra wideband. And here's the thing: this is the difference between an Apple tracker right now, and any Google tracker that doesn't use UWB. Um, beep, 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 beep. Oh, it's over there somewhere. Here's the Apple tracker with ultra wideband enabled. 6 feet, 3 feet. No, it's this way. Okay. 1 foot. It should be in this box. No, no, no. It's underneath the box. There we go. And I watched people do it. It's that accurate.
Yeah,
So
that's crazy.
yeah,
That's
it is
super crazy.
crazy. And keep in mind that almost all new flagship phones have ultra wideband now. If you
Yeah,
think, well, I shouldn't say almost all, most of them. Um,
yeah,
Anything Samsung that you get now has got ultra wideband. The last 3 Pixels have all had wideband. Even the 6 Pro had it. I didn't even realize that. I didn't even know. I don't think they actually initiated or turned it on, or maybe they have recently, but I
yeah. I didn't
haven't
know
touched.
either.
I sold my 6 Pro, so I don't know. But my 7 Pro, of course, has it, and obviously 8 Pro, and obviously everything beyond will. And I know
Right.
Samsung's had ultra wideband in since. What are you up to? You're the 24 is the
I'm on the
current one.
23. I haven't got.
No, but no,
I
no,
haven't
but
got.
the 24 is the current one, right? So I think they
Yes.
put it.
Yeah.
I think they started putting it in the S21 or S22, I
Yeah. I don't
believe,
know.
something along that line. Motorola's flagship phones, I believe, have ultra wideband. So
Yeah. I mean,
flagship
there's no
for
reason not to
Motorola.
do it at this point. You know.
Yeah, it's honestly it's amazing because not only is it just refining things, there's so many more things like the new thing for Apple, iOS 18, I should say, about how they can do the whole phone tap close to each other thing to transfer money to each other, exchange
Yeah.
their, it said, oh, well, wait a minute, didn't they make fun of Google for doing that? Yeah, but Google was using a Bluetooth technology with NFC. So when you did it close to the NFC would initiate and they would use the Bluetooth to transfer it.
Yeah.
Originally, they used only NFC, and transferring a contact actually took 30 seconds for less than 1 kilobit of
Yeah. I was gonna say that
information.
it's really slow doing it that
Eh,
way. I
eh,
don't know what the transfer rate would be with ultra wideband.
oh, no, no, no,
Obviously
it
it's
is
going to be
absolutely
extremely
amazing because his ultra wideband is much faster than anything Wi-Fi, and, I don't
right.
know if you've had a chance to use, my god, what is it called again? I could actually look at the thing at the bottom here and get my mouse to work. What's it called again? No, not Nearby Share, Quick Share.
Oh
If you
no,
had
I
a
haven't
chance to use
used it.
Quick Share, it uses, Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah.
But modern versions of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all that used to be, "Oh, you can't be on Wi-Fi and use this," what is it called again? What's the matter with me? Uh, when you use a Wi-Fi just between devices,
The ad hoc.
well, that's the insider term nowadays. It
Well,
technically is ad hoc. We both know
it,
that, but that's not what they call it. But whatever it is, it's you set it up so that this Wi-Fi can connect to this Wi-Fi transfer. And when you did that, you couldn't connect to a Wi-Fi network to get internet, right? So it didn't work. But that was a long time ago. Wi-Fi technology has advanced way past that by Wi-Fi 5, and technically we're up to 7, although most phones are just getting into the 7 range
right.
now. It's totally different. You can have several different things going through Wi-Fi at the same time. There's no such thing as full duplex anymore. There's multiple pipelines in and out of Wi-Fi, just like any data on your computer. That's why you can download like 15 different files at the same time without batting an eye if you got a gigabit service, right? It's not a big deal, and it works the same way now. So basically, when I want to send a phone to my computer
You're
or
gonna send a
to
phone
my
to your
other phone,
computer.
that's a file from this better not be a short. Damn it. When I want to damn it, man. When I want to send a file from my computer to my phone or my phone to computer or either one of my phones to the other phone, file from the phone to the other phone, to be clear, it just takes a matter of seconds. Like I've sent like a 138 megabyte file and it just ding done. So no,
Nice,
it's not
nice.
slow. But if you remember the old bump thing, that's the one that or whatever they called it. And they deprecated that years ago,
Yeah,
which was good because it was useless and it was
yeah,
garbage.
pretty
But
much.
of course, naturally, Apple made fun of it because they have AirDrop. But now this thing that they use with the ultra wideband, you have to be this close for it to do it. for the transfer. I mean, they can see each other from across the room, no problem, but
Right.
they have to be this close to do a fast transfer. So that's the security of it. If once it gets to a certain point and a certain amount of signal strength, and they know that they're both within an inch of each other, they can now
Right.
use the security features to transfer, as long as
Yeah.
both parties on both phones have okayed it. So, vroom, instant transfer. But nonetheless, like I said, they made fun of when Google did something similar years ago, uh, just because they had to bump their phones together. Well, now Google should make fun of them. No, because Google should be doing the same thing. We have the ultra wideband in the phone's availability, but the difference is that Apple has had the ultra wideband availability in the last 3 versions of their phones. So with iOS 18, 85% of the iPhone owners will have it almost
Yeah.
immediately within a couple of weeks. When it
Yeah.
comes to
Yeah.
Android, it's going to be another 2 years before enough people buy phones that have ultra wideband in them that they can say, "Oh, you can just bump your phone." So instead, this may be something that if they do that, you'll only see people, from you who own late model Samsungs and Pixels doing stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
Excuse me. It'd definitely be interesting. I
yeah,
think it's great technology. So, I mean, I'm all for it. I don't do a lot of transfer between phones or computer and phone. So I've never really had a need to use it other than like
have, yeah,
buying a new phone and switching it over. That's going to be super helpful. Like when I get
yeah,
I do plan on buying a um, S25 Ultra when they come out.
yeah.
Um,
That's going to be a
so
smoking good phone. I guarantee it.
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it'll be something like that, super fast transfer. Because even over Bluetooth, I mean, excuse me, over USB C, that transfer rate's fast, but it still takes a long time. I don't know if
Yeah,
ultra wideband is going to be faster than USB C or not. I don't know what the
what
actual
is
bandwidth is on the
USB?
phone.
What is USB-C capable of? Let's look at it that way,
Well,
right?
it's capable of multi-bit or gigabit speeds, but the phone has to support it and the cable has to support it, so it's
How
only
do
as
you not
fast
have
as
a
the
cable
slowest
that can
component.
support it though?
Oh, there's older cables that don't support that kind of band, just like
Well, why are you
HDMI
using? Why are you
2.0,
using one?
2.1. I'm not.
If you have a USB-C PD cable that supports uh full 3.1 USB 3, is this 3.1 or 3.2? I've lost
3.2.
myself. 3.2, yeah, 3.2 specification, then you should be able to do whatever, as you said, both of your devices are capable of. If you
Right.
have any PC with USB-C on it, technically it should be able to handle the top end on that. Whether your drive can handle it, depending on what you have in there. If you
Right.
have an older SSD, no, it won't handle top speed. But if you've got an M.2, maybe. If you have an M.2, here's the thing: a lot of people don't, and they don't realize this. Oh, I'm going to get a new card for my computer. They buy an M.2, and they're like, it does 3600 um, read speed, write speed, and I'm like, that's not fast anymore by today's standards, dude.
Well,
I
you
put
can
one.
you can
I put one in my PS5 last year that is 7200 write speed, and I think 7800 read or something like that. This is what, or 6600 write and 7800 read, something along that line. But that's what you have to do to ensure that you don't have any issues. You can get the fastest you absolutely can. And the weird thing is that there's such a slim difference in cost in memory, up to about 4 gigabyte or 2 gigabytes. It's not 2 gigabytes. Terabytes. Thank you very much. It's not expensive at all. It's like dirt cheap. Like you can get really fast memory in Canada for barely $100 to 2 terabytes. Like it's
yeah, memory costs
insanely
have
cheap
definitely come
now.
down, but
And I'm
I
talking
don't
about
I don't
name
know
brand good memory.
what's the do you know what the spec is on the USB-C on like a Pixel Pro 7? Because you can actually have a 2.0, a 3.0, 3.1,
Wait,
3.2.
wait a
They
minute. Are
go
we talking
anywhere
about this? Are you asking about my 7 or 8?
either. Do you know what the
Well,
spec is for the
I
speed?
believe that the 7 may still be 3.1, but the 8 is definitely whatever the latest one is. At 3.2.
It's 3.2. That supports 10 gigabit.
Yeah, the 8 is definitely 3.2. The 7, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It might still be 3.1, but it's more than fast enough for anything I'm ever going to need in this house right now.
Yeah, that's
Even if,
5.
even
I think
so,
that supports up to
even
5
if,
gigabits.
but it's at the very least 3.1. The Pixel 6 was even 3.1, to be quite frank with you.
Yeah.
So, um,
Well, I
that's
guess
actually every Pixel that had the USB-C, which started from the 5, I think,
yeah.
and at least 3.1. Because Google refused to do the USB-C until the 3.1 standard was um, prevalent in at least one port in most new laptops and computers. It was a thing for them. That's why Google did. They didn't want people saying, "Oh, it's not doing what it says." Yeah, and really, when you think about it, it's unless you were buying the most expensive computers or gaming computers, 3.2 hasn't been a thing beyond 1 or 2 ports if you had 4 or 5 on a laptop, until about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Up until then, you'd be lucky to get more than 1, and you get a
Yeah.
bunch of USB 2.1 ports, and I'm like, "Why you even still put them in? They're useless." It's not like it costs you extra. It doesn't
Right.
cost like, what are they putting an extra 25 cents? Well, raise the price up a buck.
Yeah, and you can do
You
A
know,
to
1,100,
C.
$1,200 for a laptop anyways. Raise the price another $25.
Yeah, and you can do A to C, so it doesn't have to be C to C. So you can still use the USB
Exactly.
A format. It's just the port.
100%. Net
Yeah.
that's the beautiful thing, is that that's only a thing from USB 3 point, well, technically USB 3.0, but USB 3.0, of course, has a huge bottleneck on faster data.
Yeah.
But, USB 3.1 and up, is the one that allows you to do virtually anything. It guarantees you can charge your item with power delivery, in both directions in some cases, depending on the some laptops do too. Not all, some do. Um, it guarantees that you can deliver the power to an item that needs it for what it needs, and unless it's another laptop, of course.
Right.
And that it can give you the absolute fastest data that A, the cable, and B, the other device is allowed to accept and send.
Right.
Uh, so that's the thing about USB-C and power delivery and why it's important, and why it is such a mind-boggling thing that when Apple first decided, okay, all right, well, we're going to follow the European Union's orders and put in USB-C, we're going
Yeah.
to limit the amount of power that it can charge with or transfer data with unless you buy the Pro version.
Yeah. That's a money grab.
You got to buy a new cable. They give you
Yeah.
the cheap. Why are you even selling a cheap cable? The
I
cheap
know.
cable I can go and buy for $1.25 at a dollar store.
Yeah.
Why would you put that in a $1,500 phone or $1,000 phone or whatever it costs?
Yeah.
That makes
It's
no
ridiculous.
sense to me.
Yeah.
Uh, Google, and I'm assuming Samsung also, put a more than adequate cable into the box of every phone that they sell.
Oh yeah.
It
Yeah.
will do the absolute fastest data transfer that the phone is capable of,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
fastest charging that the phone is capable of. And they're capable of USB 3.2 USB-C power delivery standard. So a lot of people say, well, that's a shitty cable that came with it. Go buy a better one. If the phone is going to sit within 3 feet of me or within 3 feet of the charger, it's fine. It's the one I trust the most. And the only cables I've ever bought in my life that I used for more than a year that have never failed. I've got
Right.
now, I think, 10 of them because of the 2 phones that one I lost and one I sold and blah, blah, blah. But the amount
Right.
of cables that I've had of Google Pixel cables, um, well, no,
Yeah.
not
It's
USB-C, 10
solid.
of them, but however many it is. So 4 or
Yeah.
5, or was it 3? No, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's about 6 or 7 of them I've had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And that's just from Pixel boxes.
Yeah, it's good equipment. So, well, listen, on that note, we are going to have to cut this off, but definitely want to check in next week because we're going to have 2 or 3 pretty cool episodes with our Candependence celebratory
Yeah,
podcast.
you know what? Let's be realistic. This may be a podcast channel, but they may be a little bit less podcasty and a little bit more uh just kind of more of a celebration of the time. We're celebrating the week. It's Candependence week, basically. Yeah. They may be not quite as podcasty. You may be looking at, because like I said, I want to show you some video and pictures from when I'm out at Canada Day. Hopefully Robert gets out and does something, even if it's before Independence Day. You know, just show us your picture of your barbecue or your dog or something, whatever. Take a picture of the town you live in. Who cares? But we got to talk about stuff. See how Americans are living. Leading up to Independence Day and how Canadians are living through Canada Day, and we're going to celebrate Candependence. And we hope you have a really good time. And don't forget again, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and Robert's going to talk us out now.
I'm Robert from the US, and we will catch you next episode.
Have a good one.